Hello, fellow Econauts, and welcome back to our show. I'm here with my brother Ben, the Rocketman, and we are talking about the ISS today. Hey, Ben, how are you?
Hey Simon, hello fellow Econauts. Yeah, it is time for space history. So today we want to talk about the ISS.
And we are already going to our first question. What is the ISS?
Well, we are here to discover that, obviously. The ISS is an abbreviation for the International Space Station. It is a very large space station orbiting the low Earth orbit of our planet, and a lot of research has been conducted there. So it's obviously a project by NASA, mainly by NASA, not only by NASA.
How long and how much effort did it take to build the ISS?
Was in a time when we had no space station and we didn't know what really we need to do that. I mean, there was the Mir already, the first attempt of the Russians to put two Soyuz rockets together as well, which sort of formed the first permanent structure in orbit, which was not a satellite. And yeah, so then 1986, Ronald Reagan decided that NASA should build a space station, and successively NASA is then planned and designed. And 1998, they launched the first parts of the International Space Station. And then the effort took 10 years and over 30 missions to bring all the parts of the International Space Stations up, from modules to solar panels and equipment. So yeah, it took a lot of time and a lot of effort to build up the space station, the International Space Station.
How many missions have been done since the space station was actually orbiting the Earth?
I don't have an exact number, but just imagine this. I mean, obviously we said already 1998, space station was there. It took 30 missions just to build the space station, if you count them in as well, and a continuous usage of the station, continuous research, continuous new projects such as S.P.I.D.E.R and CubeSats and so on. Hundreds of missions have been accomplished and done at the space station, and also the Crew Dragon, which is a SpaceX crew resupply for the space station, because the space shuttle is not flying anymore. Obviously has a wide reach even into the commercial sector as well.
And I think one interesting question we should discuss is the breakthroughs that we actually enjoy these days that have been developed on the International Space Station.
Yes, I mean, as I said, there's continuous research going on, from low gravity and medicinal things and so on. But I want to be a bit more specific, and I have to cheat here a little bit. So I have opened a long list of breakthroughs from the last 20 years of the International Space Station. I just pick a few, which make a very significant and obvious outcome for everybody. I think everybody will understand and appreciate them. So one thing was new water purification systems. So as you can imagine, water is a very scarce resource, and there's a lot of recycling going on, let's say. So astronauts, they have to drink something at some point, and they have to also release the water at some point as well, so the kidneys can work and so on. And yeah, so the water is not getting wasted, the urine is not getting wasted. Therefore, they had to find out how to do that. A lot of chemical research has been done to make better crystals, which is good for medicine. So a lot of breakthroughs have been done in that regards as well. Then one thing which is always a bad thing in space, because you have no gravity, is muscle atrophy. And in order to counter that, a lot of training and rigorous training sessions have been sort of developed, which also help on Earth people who suffer of diseases which cause muscle atrophy to help. Then, growing food in microgravity, monitoring from our Earth from a different perspective. Now we have more and more remote satellites. I mentioned CubeSats as well. CubeSats are small-sized satellites, often for universities and schools to do their own research. They usually get then sent to the ISS in a so-called CubeSat dispenser. anyway, I guess you know what I mean. And these dispensers, they get then manually used from the astronauts and then released from the ISS into low Earth orbit. And then obviously have already the right velocity, traveling at the same speed as the ISS. There was a lot of 3D printing in microgravity was another big breakthrough, which is very important. And yeah, the list goes on and on and on. Better fuel usage, how fuel can be steadily burned with cooler flames, which make combustion engines more and more efficient here on Earth. Then there have been twin studies where one twin remained on Earth, the other twin remained on the ISS, and they could actually research the changes of that environment on the body, because the twins they have similar in genetics, obviously, and that would only be the change of amongst other things. You can't really control everything, obviously, but you could see the influence of microgravity, which is important if we want to become an interplanetary species. We have to know what happens to our body if we remain with low or no gravity in space. So, and again, I could go on here for ages, but let's stop at this point.
Yeah, then let me maybe inject here the next question. What is the future of the ISS?
Yeah, so sadly, the ISS, after lots of discussions and negotiations between space agencies, and also I just want to mention, I mentioned before, it's mainly a NASA mission, but obviously the whole world is included. Over 15 countries and also other space agencies have their own modules at the ISS. It is called International Space Station after all. But coming back to your question, so a lot of negotiations have been done, and it has been finally decided that the ISS will deorbit within the decade, and then will be decommissioned entirely. So it will not be floating around. And NASA will then focus on further missions with other space stations, not around Earth, but with Gateway around the Moon. So NASA is sort of changing their focus. Axiom Space is planning a commercial space station. So obviously the ISS was initially just used by space agencies and governments to do research, and over time opened up more and more for private research and commercial research. But a fully fledged commercial space station would be very well placed for making research for commercial applications. And also maybe more than one space station, maybe for space tourism and so on. So, but yeah, the ISS itself, unfortunately, will not be seen anymore in the night sky. You can see it, by the way. So just mentioning it, the ISS surrounds the Earth every 90 minutes, and if you are lucky, and it's just sunset time for you, and you're at the right angle, you can see the full reflection from the sun of the ISS back to Earth, and then you can see a very bright spot passing quite quickly over the firmament, and yeah, we can see it from here.
Well, that's very interesting. Let's end it for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode and learned a little bit about the ISS. I think that the ISS is one of our one of our greatest achievements in modern human history.
Yes.
And I'm very excited to know. Before the show, we talked about that, and I was like still remembering stuff that was like very cool to myself. Anyway, so let's end it for today. Otherwise, I start talking too much. If you like this episode,
we have no time.
We have no time. Okay, if you like this episode, don't forget to leave a like. Subscribe if you haven't already.
And don't forget to hit the notification bell. And we also have other episodes which we would like you to watch. So just look through our library. There's a few things already there.
Yeah. And if you want, please leave a comment and have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye.